It's Friday, June 12th, and this is now on HNN.
They already detained 8 of us.
A cult leader is among many arrested on Hawaii Island for violating emergency orders.
We broke the law. This is what happens. You got to stay in quarantine for 14 days.
With tourism shut down, the state's hotels are losing up to $150 million a month. Mayor Caldwell talks with us about the push to reopen.
There could also be a second level of testing upon arrival here.
Pressure on President Trump for police reform. I'm Skyler Henry at the White House, which is yet to detail how it'll address use of force nationwide.
Move back, move back. We're doing it with compassion. If you think about it, we're dominating the street with compassion because we're saving lives.
I'm Elise Preston in New York with a look at calls across the country to bring down what many are deeming offensive statues.
These stories plus Hawaii's largest daily newspaper is making some big cuts. Coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon, the time is now 12:01. You're watching This Is Now. I'm Jonathan, your director producer, alongside Ashley here on this Friday. We got some news from the Department of Health, a big uptick in numbers.
That's right.
Yep.
Health officials are reporting 15 new COVID-19 cases today, all on Oahu, the first double-digit spike since April, and we're told 10 of those cases are all from the same household. That pushes our statewide total above 700. Most patients have been released from isolation so far.
All right, now we want to talk about a story that so many are buzzing about online. A cult leader is among the many arrested on the Big Island for violating quarantine. Chelsea Davis found out that this cult has actually been banned from many other countries. Let's see her report.
They call themselves Carbon Nation, and according to Hawaii County Police, the group arrived earlier this week. Many of the members are still behind bars, unable to make bail.
They already detained 8 of us. 8 of us already. They're going to be detaining the rest of.
Hawaii County Police say the group arrived on the Big Island on June 7th and June 8th. 20 people were arrested this week for allegedly violating the 14-day visitor quarantine. They're all at the home of 42-year-old Tylea Furman of Mountain View, who was also booked for violating an emergency rule on vacation rentals.
We need for everyone to send donations right away.
The leader is Eligio Lee Bishop. The cult goes by the name Carbon Nation. Here he is in South America before coming to Hawaii.
You never gonna take my spirit. I'm here forever. I am the black man. I am God. I love myself.
And here he is after being arrested in Puna.
We broke the law. This is what happens. You got to stay in quarantine for 14 days. It is what it is. We broke the law. They're doing their job. We don't want to arrest anybody. You know, send your donations, to help me out.
Media reports say Bishop and his followers have been kicked out of several South American countries on a variety of accusations, from endangering people's welfare to sex crimes.
Many of them that we find have criminal records and are doing serious offenses. They're not respectful people.
Hawaii Kapu quarantine breakers helped alert authorities after locals saw them playing with turtles at a beach. This is just the latest and largest bust as the group keeps watch for visiting violators.
People are going hog wild when they arrive. They leave their hotel room, they're out and about, they're interacting with people, and that's an opportunity for infection that we don't want here.
So far, none of the 21 arrested have been charged. We did reach out to Hawaii County Police for their mugshots, but we have not received a response yet. Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
Honolulu Mayor Kirk Caldwell says he's facing heavy pressure from the visitor industry to reopen Oahu. Here's what he said on Sunrise this morning.
Having folks be tested before they come to Hawaii, 72 hours before, 3 days before, and if they're negative, they can come in. There could also be a second level of testing upon arrival here, maybe within the first 3 days. So it'd be a 6-day window between the first and second test. The other thing is we need to have contact tracers in place, at least 300 of them, ready to start to trace if someone is positive. And we know that as we open up, we're going to have the virus return. We already have more cases on Oahu as we're opening up. And we've seen projections as many as 50 cases a day upon accepting of visitors from outside of Hawaii. And we can manage it, Grace, but we need the contact tracing in place.
With the extension of the traveler quarantine, some hotels are bracing for a very uncertain future. Lacey Denise has the details.
With tourism shut down, Hawaii hotels are losing up to $150 million a month. That's an estimate from consultant Keith Vieira. The former Sheraton and Starwood Hotels executive says industry leaders were disappointed by the governor's decision to extend the quarantine for out-of-state travelers until July 31st. That rules out the lucrative summer travel season.
It's a very frustrating and difficult situation because July is the peak month of the year. People plan their summer travels, family travel. These are generally higher spending visitors coming over to Hawaii during that time. And, now they can't do it.
Vieira and other tourism experts don't see hotels restarting until the slower fall season.
The double challenge is that other destinations are open, or parts of other destinations are open. We're losing a lot of potential customers that would enable our employees to come back to work.
If you're going to reopen August 1, then by June 15th, next week, Monday, we really need the governor and the mayors together to come out and say, okay, we're opening on August 1.
Governor David Ige hasn't given a date for when tourism to Hawaii would reopen, but said it would happen as several layers of protection are put in place for travel.
State leaders are also watching Alaska. The state now requires travelers to provide a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of boarding a flight. If they're clear, they can avoid the state's 14-day quarantine. They can also be tested upon arrival and quarantine until they get their test results back. Here's more from Alaska's testing director on how the program works once air passengers arrive.
We have greeters, screeners, as well as testers here. So first they're greeted by individuals to take some information on whether they're a guest to the state of Alaska, a resident, and or critical infrastructure. They then go into one of 3 lanes where we review their declaration page, we review what their option is as it relates to quarantine, testing, if they're bringing a test back with them. We verify that as well as ask a series of questions included on the declaration. Following that, if they have opted in for testing, they proceed over to sign in for that testing and then proceed to the actual test.
The process takes about 40 minutes at the airport, but officials say it goes faster if people fill out the paperwork before getting off the plane.
A number of states have seen an increase in cases over the past 2 weeks. Nancy Chin gives us a check of what's happening on the mainland.
Citing an increase in COVID-19 cases in both rural and urban communities, Oregon's governor announced Friday a 1-week statewide pause on the reopening process.
As I've said a zillion times, the virus makes the timelines. We don't make the timelines.
Arizona has seen its average daily cases nearly triple over the last 2 weeks. But Arizona's governor said Thursday he is not considering another statewide stay-at-home order.
We put the stay-at-home order there so we could prepare for what we are going through right now.
Arizona is one of at least 14 states where current hospitalizations have increased since Memorial Day. In Arkansas, hospitalizations have risen by more than 88% during the same period.
We are still in the pandemic. We are not behind us.
The CDC Friday issued long-awaited tips about reducing the risk of infection for Americans as they resume daily life. Among them, take the stairs, not the elevator when possible. Encourage guests to bring their own food and drinks to a cookout, and no high fives or even elbow bumps at the gym.
The guidelines also repeat earlier advice about wearing face masks if you can't keep 6 feet apart.
We need to behave differently, and wearing a mask is different. It's not in our DNA to focus on others, but we need to.
The CDC says the closer the interaction and the longer it lasts, the higher the risk. Nancy Chin, CBS News, New York.
A vigil is being held in Idaho today for JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. Family members say the remains of the 2 children were found on Chad Daybell's property this week. The children went missing in September. Their mother, Lori Vallow, was arrested on Kauai in February after defying a court order to prove to authorities that her kids were still alive. She's still behind bars in Idaho. Meanwhile, Daybell was arrested on Tuesday after investigators searched his property and found 2 sets of human remains. JJ and Tylee's friends and family plan to honor the children in Idaho Falls today. JJ's grandparents, Kay and Laurie Woodcock, were reportedly able to visit the site where where the remains were found.
I'm not coming in hostility in any way. I come with trying to be the peacemaker, and that's all I want. I just want to be a peacemaker. Let's all get along here.
Woodcock said they visited the site to get closure. Meanwhile, we're hearing from Chad Daybell's neighbor, who said he noticed a change in Daybell's personality last fall.
He normally is more outgoing, but he didn't carry on a conversation with us or make eye contact with us. Chad, his demeanor was very disconnected.
Matt Price also said Daybell did not seem to have any emotion the day that his wife Tammy died. Price also said he noticed large bonfires on Daybell's property, one in the fall and two in recent months. The fires happened near where the remains were found.
Protesters continue to occupy an area of Seattle where police have abandoned a precinct. In other cities, the movement continues to bring down what many are calling offensive statues in the wake of George Floyd's death. Elise Preston brings us all the day's developments from New York.
This is the mic for all people.
Protesters spoke out about their grievances.
I'll get you, bro. It's okay. I understand.
And wishes for the future in a 6-block area of Seattle they now occupy.
I would love to see the Seattle Police Department be turned into a youth center.
President Trump tweeted for Washington's governor and the city's mayor to take back their city. Seattle's police chief says it wasn't her choice to abandon a precinct in the area.
Leaving the precinct was not my decision. Ultimately, the city had other plans for the building and relented to severe public pressure.
Across the country, protesters angry about the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis police custody have funneled their fury in different ways, including the removal of Confederate and other controversial statues.
The NYPD is standing guard at New York City's statue of Christopher Columbus at Columbus Circle, making sure it stays safe. Governor Andrew Cuomo says he supports the statue.
I understand the feelings about Christopher Columbus and some of his acts, which nobody would support. But the statue has come to represent and signify appreciation for the Italian-American contribution to New York.
In Boston, a granite pedestal is empty where a Columbus statue used to stand. It was removed after it was beheaded earlier this week. Those viewing it have mixed feelings.
We can't erase all our history. If we don't learn from the past, we can't move forward.
He did not treat people properly, and I understand people's frustration with him.
Italian-American groups will hold a rally Sunday to support the return of the statue. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The White House has yet to say what type of reform it will introduce as America struggles with the issue of race and use of force. Skylar Henry reports from D.C.
We are looking for ways to advance better standards, better training.
Vice President Mike Pence held a raw discussion on race and police reform with African-American faith leaders in Pittsburgh.
I'm tired that people still do not acknowledge that systemic racism is real.
White lives matter, and we don't deny that. But right now, white lives aren't being oppressed in the same way.
The conversation comes a day after President Trump promised to take action on police reform.
We're working to finalize an executive order that will encourage police departments nationwide to meet the most current professional standards of force. And that means force, but force with compassion.
Local officials in some cities have already begun to enact reforms. Congressional Democrats introduced their police reform bill earlier this week, and Senate Republicans are expected to unveil their proposals early next week.
President Trump plans to return to the campaign trail next Friday and is pushing back against criticism. The date June 19th, known as Juneteenth, celebrates the end of slavery in the U.S.
There is also controversy on the choice of venue, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the site of a race massacre that resulted in the deaths of hundreds of African-American residents nearly 100 years ago.
Was that on purpose?
No, we're going to Oklahoma. And if you think about it, relative to your question, think about it as a celebration.
In the nation's capital this weekend, protesters are expected back on the streets for more demonstrations against police violence. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Back here at home, the Honolulu Star Advertiser, Hawaii's largest daily newspaper, is reportedly cutting 29 members from its newsroom staff. Reporter Kristen Concilio confirmed the news in a post on her Facebook page today. She said the layoffs are set to happen at the end of the month. The layoffs come after the company eliminated its Saturday print edition. At that time, the news outlet told its subscribers that the coronavirus crisis, mixed with changes in the way readers consume news, was placing an extraordinary strain on the newspaper's financial operations.
As a journalist, of course you never want to hear a story like this, but it's also a trend that has been going on for years, the downsizing of newsrooms for a number of reasons, whether it be automation or anything like the issues we're dealing right now with the pandemic.
Yeah,
all right,
it's unfortunate.
I know. Our hearts go out to them and wish them best luck with their job hunt. All right, we're going to get to some other consumer news, and that's because Sony's PlayStation, has unveiled its new PS5 during a virtual event last night. It unveiled this next generation console. It includes a black and white design to match the new controller. The PS5 stands vertically. It comes with two versions, one with 4K Blu-ray drive and a digital edition without a drive. Sony has also created a number of accessories, including a charging station, HD camera, 3D wireless headset, and a media remote. I said that like I'm a gamer, and I'm not.
Yeah.
So,
what does all that mean?
Sounds fun.
It looks different.
It looks pretty cool design. I'll give them that, but I'll stick with my original Nintendo or Atari with Donkey Kong.
And here's more tech news that we don't really understand, but Snapchat is launching new apps next month called Snap Minis. Now, they can be used by groups of people at the same time. There will be a handful of minis to start with. One from Atom Tickets will let you watch movie trailers together, see showtimes, and pick seats as a group before you buy tickets individually. Now, another will allow students to share their class schedules on Snapchat.
You're right. I'm confused. But, all right, guys, let's get you over outside. Let's check it out. Look, it's bouncing around a little bit out there. There's some trade winds out there. We got Guy Hoggy here to give us an update on our weekend forecast.
How's it on this Friday? I'm Guy Hoggy with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. The trade winds will be very, very brisk and breezy today. Not so much for Kona, though. They'll have light winds and high humidity levels there. Humidity is not an issue anywhere else because of the breezy winds, and we'll see occasional cloudy periods moving to the windward sides. Fairly sunny for those leeward areas. Windward sides will get the occasional splash as well, but really we're not expecting a whole lot of rain after the morning showers kind of ease up. Now in the afternoon, temperatures will run very, very hot to near 90 degrees. Luckily, like I said, those gusty trade winds will help keep the humidity levels under control. Those gusty trade winds also responsible for the biggest surf today. It's going to be biggest on the east side with that wind swell kicking up, maybe some overhead sets, but every place else will be pretty small, and this is actually an overestimation. I think North Shores will be barely breaking today. So we've got a nice long stretch of trade wind weather. The trade winds will be breezy today, easing up ever so slightly through Monday, but still running at brisk levels, and we could see a few more showers developing sometime on Tuesday and again on Wednesday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Thanks, Guy. Well, here in the H&N Digital Center, we're always monitoring the social feeds for what's going on out there. Ashley, what are you seeing on the feeds today? I think you have a pretty good idea because you posted this.
That's right. So last night was Make-A-Wish Hawaii's first ever virtual gala. The half-hour special aired on Hawaii News Now, and it was also streamed on social media. Take a look.
Cameron's family knew a sensory playground would allow her to continue to learn and grow. And luxury interior design firm Philpotts stepped in to make this wish a reality, donating their time, labor, and resources.
The annual gala is the organization's biggest fundraising event, but because of the pandemic, Make-A-Wish Hawaii had to get creative this year. So the virtual gala featured some amazing Wish kids and their families, community members who support the important mission, and thanks to a triple match fundraising effort by the organization's leadership, the gala has almost raised $100,000 already so far.
Way to go. You looked fantastic last night.
Thank you. It was fun to dress up again, you know.
I know, it's been so long,
pretend
right?
like you're going somewhere.
You and Ryan both really did a good job.
Thank you.
And the Mount Rays, you guys, right on.
Yeah, what'd you see on the feeds?
Okay, so Keahi Tucker actually wrote this story, so I'm going to do my best. All right, we're getting into the Wayback Machine for a bodacious online show. That, of course, I did not write that. Thank you, Tucker. Everybody, Wing Chun tonight. Some of the hit 80s artists that are reuniting for a virtual weekend concert. It's called Back to the Basement. The lineup includes Flock of Seagulls, Naked. Oh wait, is it Naked Eyes? I don't even know that band. See, I did not write this. Nelson. Oh, I remember them. The Twins. Yeah. And the show premieres Saturday, 8 a.m. and that's our time. And if you're addicted to the 80s, you're gonna love this. Just Google it. You'll find it. Again, it's called Back to the Basement. 80s artist. Favorite 80s artist?
Oh gosh, that's hard. That's impossible for me to answer.
Really? Oh, Madonna. Done.
Not that hard for Jonathan.
No. And I just, you know who I just saw at Blue Note recently? Or, well, now it's almost a year ago. Tiffany was, remember?
Yeah.
She was a good 80s artist, for sure.
I can't imagine Kiahi reading that script.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
He did it much better than I did. All right, guys, we want to check in with Casey Lund. He's at Aloha Stadium because the swap meet is back this weekend. Let's check in with him.
Quiet one here at Aloha Stadium, but that's not going to be the case come Saturday morning when vendors return, but there will be a lot less here for the swap meet. I want to introduce Ryan Andrews, Deputy Manager of Aloha Stadium. Ryan, you're going to have a considerably less amount of vendors here. Tell me a little bit about why that is.
Well, first of all, we're pretty excited to get reopened. At the same time, we are cautiously optimistic. We want to make sure we're thoughtful in how we reopen. So we are reopening more of a modified format. So we're only using the 3 inner rows rather than all 4 rows of the parking lot. And we will be spacing our vendors out, making sure there's at least 1 vacant parking stall in between each tent. That way we can help with the social distancing.
What have you heard from those vendors? Again, there's going to be quite a few less, but I'm sure a lot of them are really excited and kind of really need to get back to the swap meet.
Yeah, no question. I mean, any small business owner is in that situation. These vendors are as well. So, you know, there's almost 700 vendors in total, so the emotions and the opinions run across the whole spectrum, but they all want to get back. Unfortunately, you know, a good chunk of those vendors really cater to the tourist market, so it doesn't really make sense that they come back right now. However, as an incentive just to come back and at least give it a shot, we've lowered our vendor rate stalls to $15 per stall, just to give them a chance to come back.
And the entrance fee, you said, also is being waived?
Yeah, we are waiving the shopper entrance fee. So that, again, trying to decrease any barrier to coming back.
I love that. And really quickly, before we go, what do you want attendees to know as far as social distancing and other requirements go?
Yeah, so we are following the governor's proclamation in terms of safety measures in the Department of Health. So everyone, vendors, shoppers, our employees will all have to wear PPE. So a face covering is required to attend, even though it's an outdoor venue. And then obviously we're going to be enforcing the social distancing. So we're asking people to keep that 6-foot distance between other shoppers. All of our rows will be one way to help facilitate that as well. And again, as I mentioned, the vendor stalls are spread out.
And of course, asking folks to be patient and understanding as we're all trying to work through all these new normals. Ryan Andrews, the Deputy Manager at Aloha Stadium, thank you for being with us this morning. What time does it kick off on Saturday?
Saturday, 8 o'clock till 1 and Sunday, 6:30 till 1.
Saturday, 8 o'clock. We'll see you then. Thank you, Ryan. We'll send it back to you guys in studio.
Thanks, Casey.
All right, something else opening up soon. The Bishop Museum is planning to reopen on Friday, June 19th, but the first week will be for members only as a way to thank their dedicated supporters. Now, the general public will be welcomed back on June 26th with limits on attendance, of course.
I haven't been there in like 2 years.
Oh, yeah. I've been to a couple events there before Corona.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Great location. And a house with a gorgeous view and a star-studded history is up for sale on Oahu. Check this out. It's Tom Selleck's house in Black Point. Now, you may remember Selleck from his time playing Thomas Magnum on the original Magnum PI. So the 3-bedroom home is up for sale for $4.4 million. It was built back in 1929, almost 100 years ago, and it's been a while since Selleck actually lived there. He sold it back in 2001. But it does come with a special bonus, if you're interested, an original caricature of the Magnum PI star himself.
I saw that in there. Really? He left that behind? He must not have liked that picture.
You know, for $4.4 million?
Okay, I'll take it. I know, beautiful. I've been considering growing it out and getting the Selleck's stash. What do you think?
I dare you.
Okay.
Just try it.
Scott Humber, what do you think? Our boss. I don't know. He might like it.
It's just hair.
Yeah, we can always change it up. You guys, that's going to do it for us here at This Is Now. We have a press conference coming up this afternoon with Governor Ige. We're going to bring that to you live on our HNN digital platforms for sure. But I'll wrap it up for you at 5 o'clock in case you can't catch it. You guys have a great TGIF, a safe weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. And until then, we're going to leave you with the sounds of Henry Capono.
And he loves his lady. Whiskey is sweet. The sailing's his first love. It keeps us so free. And he'd rather be sailing away. And he'd rather be sailing away. And he'd rather be sailing. Because where the wind blows, and he flows with the tide, he's just going nowhere, just going for the ride. A cigarette for company, and a shot for good times. The sunset to follow into the night. And he'd rather be sailing away. And he'd rather be sailing, yes he was, sailing away. And he'd rather be sailing away. All right. Hey, I wanted to let you guys know I got some friends.